Hi everyone, Amy here with amyswares, and today I'm going to make a card with some random desk leftovers. Here you can see various little random things that were on my desk in these little containers. This is a card base that was a bit of an oops from a recent project, so I had that sitting there. All these little cutouts that you see are going to form the most perfect little flower petals. This is actually an exclamation point leftover that I didn't use from my husband's recent birthday card, and this was like a little sentiment strip that didn't make it back in. So I'm going to compile all these things and create this card that you see here. Basically, I had all these little petals from cutting out all those XOs. I recently did, I don't know what order I'll be releasing this, but I recently batched a bunch of cards for a local Meals on Wheels for Valentine's Day. And all those little cutouts were just left by my die cutting machine. And I thought, oh, those are going to make like the perfect little petals to form a flower. So I kept them all, whereas I would normally, to be honest, probably bin them. But these were such a fun, uniform, obvious shape for a petal that I thought I would keep them. So I'm just kind of playing around, figuring out if I want to use all of them or if I just want to use a few of the designs. And as you saw, I did end up just using kind of that red and then the more corally red and then the one that's actually like a wood grain. And then I set the others aside potentially for a future card. So that cool red and yellow and white floral one on the other side actually has that cool yellow font, and I thought, or yellow print, and I thought that would be perfect. So once I get everything situated how I want it, I'm going to grab some press and seal. This is definitely something to keep in your crafty stash if you work with little fiddly die cuts. It's a great way to kind of keep everything together while you glue it down or add some sort of like foam adhesive. So I'm going to carefully press that on there to keep all the little petals together. And then I'm going to flip it over and use some liquid glue to kind of get underneath the different layers where they overlap to hold it together. And then ultimately I will put some foam tape in the back to pop it up. So I'm kind of winging it as I go, typical Amy fashion. I have a general plan, but I'm just kind of figuring out as I go how I'm going to put it all together. So getting this liquid glue oozage everywhere, which, you know, is my favorite, not really. And then I'm figuring out, I want to actually add a little bit of dimension onto this stem. Like I said, it's actually exclamation point, but it makes the cutest little chunky whimsical stem and leaf. So I'm just using some residual ink from my blending brush just down one side to kind of make it a darker green, just to add a little bit of interest. And you can see there's probably 4 or 5 layers of that stacked. So I'm trying to find one of my foam strips that's a similar width. It's actually perfect. The foam strips were a little bit higher, which actually worked great with the way that I wanted to overlap, because I wanted the petals to sit on top of the stem and I wanted the sentiment strip to sit on top of the stem. So it was actually perfect that it was a little bit higher, just a touch. You could also use cardstock if you don't have foam, or if you need to have a very concise layer height, then you could just kind of create your own height based on different stacked layers of cardstock or however you want to lift it. But I had the perfect amount with this one little strip. I'm getting liquid glue everywhere again, my favorite. I have this little strip that was the perfect length to put behind that sentiment strip, and then I'm just going to put the last little bit on the flower. So I'm going to carefully remove the press and seal and then remove the backers from that foam tape and kind of figure out where I want everything to go placement wise on the design. So I'm going to leave the background nice and white. I love white space. I love clean and simple, and that texture from the embossing is top notch. Now I will say this is one of my favorite embossing folders from Altenew. I'll link it in the video description box below with any other products that are available, but it is so dramatic that it will shrink your cardstock. So if you start off with a panel that's true USA 2 size, 4¼ inches by 5½, it is going to shrink it on you. So just bear that in mind. You can see that's why it's kind of trimmed down and has a little bit of a white border on the card base. That is because this is so dramatic that you will lose some size. So bear that in mind when you're creating so that it doesn't kind of throw you off. Now I'm using liquid glue to kind of attach the little stem and the leaf down, and then I have the backer removed on that foam tape, and I'm going to place that up. Now at this point I'm going to bring in my card bling. This is from a Colorful Life Designs. I do have a coupon, AmyFan10. If you shop for anything at a Colorful Life Designs, be sure to use that code at checkout and you'll save 10% on your complete order. So I was thinking I could go red or white or any of the colors, but I really wanted to tie in some of that black. Because that sentiment strip is a little bit random otherwise. So I'm going to use the satin matte black card bling in just a few little spots just to kind of tie in some black and bring that into the design. So I laid that down, added some liquid glue, and that's going to finish the card. So, oh, actually, I'm just kidding. Just kidding. I got one more step. I grabbed my Wink of Stella, which was a little bit dried up. So I grabbed the equivalent of Wink of Stella, which is from scrapbook.com. It's like a clear glitter pen. And I just put that right over the center. So that yellow and white pattern paper has just a little bit of glitter. You can't really see it in the pictures, but in person it just has a little bit of glittery shine. So that's going to just add a little unexpected design feature to the card, and that's going to finish it. So I hope this encourages you to pull out all those random little pieces, parts that I'm sure you have on your desk, and see if you can challenge yourself and combine them and make a fun card. So thank you so much for spending time with me. I hope you enjoyed this. If you did, please hit the thumbs up, and I'll see you next time. Bye.